Welcome to Podadelphia. My name is Dave DiUrio. You can find me on Twitter at @fat_lobster. And I'm joined by two guys who are now older than every active player in the NFL. What's up, Gene and Nico? Nico, very dramatic entrance.
I think he forgot that we were on. He's just had that thing on since 2 weeks ago. Nico, are you going to retire? Do we need to? Is there going to be any sort of debate?
Guys, the audio.
The audio?
I'm hearing like crazy from you two. Is anybody else hearing this?
No, you sound great.
Right now.
Sounds okay to me. I don't know.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself first, and then you don't have to talk anymore.
It's really bad. I'll leave and I'll come back.
Okay, try that. I don't know. I'm not hearing it. What is happening?
Well, I'm Gene Zelak. You can find me on Twitter at Producer Gene. You can find the show at Podadelphia because there's not anybody else around anymore to give that plug. So,
all right, great stuff. So I kind of want to start the night by talking about the Sixers tonight, Gene, because I feel like we've kind of I don't know, since our season preview with Jason Blevins, we haven't really delved too much into the world of Sixers outside of some smatterings of Ben Simmons trade conversations, and I just feel like I don't know, this month of January we really just the Sixers just really hit the accelerator.
Yeah, they sort of arrived. I think part of it might have been that we all were sort of waiting as the trade deadline approached that maybe something would happen with Ben Simmons, which would sort of force us to have a more serious conversation about where the Sixers are headed. I think we need to have a more serious conversation about where the Sixers are headed, but I think that we have the team that's headed there. I don't know that anything's going to happen in terms of Ben Simmons this year. I think that the Sixers have made the decision that they're just going to leave him in the position that he's at. He's made his decision. They've made theirs. They'll let the lawyers work it out later or let the banks work it out later. But as far as basketball is concerned, the Sixers have their team. They've managed to get themselves in a pretty damn good position in the East without having a $30 million player. And so nice. Nice to have you back, Nico.
Wow. That was
better?
Crazy. Yeah, this is perfect now.
Okay, great. No, we're talking Sixers, and I was just thinking about, we had Jason Blevins on before the season started to give us like a Sixers preview, and it's funny because I specifically asked him, is this a season that we can get excited about? And with the Ben Simmons issue, if Ben Simmons wasn't going to play, and some of the other, Springer wasn't really like the rookie that we were thinking, that was really going to contribute. And he said, I don't know, you're going to get excited about a 5th seed team in the East. Like, I don't know if you can get excited about that. You can get excited about this season. And it's like, wow, the Sixers have really hit the accelerator just as the Eagles have the coda to the Eagles season has concluded. The Sixers just really kind of just buoyed us all up again.
Yeah, definitely pumped me up. First of all, thanks so much for having me again to join you guys. I'm sorry
always.
About the technical difficulties that I experienced. Like when I signed on, you guys were going roll. The audio is crazy. It was definitely something that happened on my end.
That might be something we sound like all the time to everybody. It's just these guys are just like wah wah wah.
To my wife, I'm sure I sound like that all the time.
We're like the Peanuts teachers here. But you're in the teachers' lounge at the Peanuts Elementary School.
I am in the teacher's lounge.
Yeah.
Does anybody else kind of feel like you're playing a little bit with house money with the Sixers right now? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's so much drama, so much that they should be distracted by, and here we are.
They're just, to me, I feel like this is the year that they're drama free. This is the most drama free year
at
that
least
the
on the
team
court,
has
yeah.
ever been through. I mean, we're getting caught up in this like Ben Simmons crap, but if the players are just like, dude, that guy is gone right now, or we're not worried
Mhm.
about him, this is our team, and we just play every night, then they're relatively drama free. I mean, there was a little bit of Tobias, like Tobias got booed, and like Danny Green was like, "Don't boo him," and Tobias was like, "It's fine," and then it all went away.
Right. Do you think they're playing this well in spite of the Ben Simmons situation?
Well, do you
Do you
mean
think they
in spite
use
of, or
that
do you
as
mean because of?
maybe a little bit of both? But do you think that they used that situation as, I don't know, motivation to play even better, to even find more common ground as a team, be more cohesive?
Hey, I mean, like maybe Maxey is just taking on this like Roger Maris
Oh man,
mantle, and it's just like, hey man, if you don't want to be here, I do, and I'm going to make the most of every single opportunity. And if you're just going to want to waste your, your 25-year-old year of NBA prime being a baby about stuff, then all right,
yeah.
I'll take advantage of that, and I love that mentality.
Now, how do you guys feel about the prolonged narrative of the Sixers are wasting Embiid's prime by delaying the whole Ben Simmons get the hell out of town story?
I don't know that
Gene?
Joel Embiid is letting you delay his prime. I think that he's that good.
Nice, Gene.
I think that he is close to the most dominant, if not certainly the most dominant big man in the league. He may be the overall most dominant player, considering sort of his surrounding cast that he is. He does not have a clear second all-star. I think he has a couple of really, really good pieces around him, and I think that Maxey is going to be at the very least an all-star eventually. So that's sort of the best way I can put it is Joel Embiid's not going to let you waste his prime because he's so dominant. And the sport of basketball, since there's only 5 guys on the court, one guy who's playing that well can sort of propel you in spite of all of the other things if he is that good. We've seen other players be that good. We saw young Shaq sort of be that good when he was playing for Orlando. Can you win a championship that way? I don't know. That sort of remains to be seen. But you can certainly win a whole hell of a lot of games and put yourself in a good position for the playoffs if you've got a dominant big man like Joel Embiid.
All right, and you think about the dynamic duos, like right away, Jordan and Pippen, right? But and Stockton and Malone, you can go all the way back and find those two guys for pretty much every team in NBA history that's won a championship. Before Miami had the big three, it was pretty much like, oh well, all you really need is the duo and some role players, right? But like now, all of a sudden, the league feels like, well, you need to have 3. You need to have at least.
Well, I think the
3
Celtics kind of
superstars.
started that with Garnett, Pierce, and
I'm
drawing a blank.
Was Chris Bosh, LeBron, and D Wade? That was after.
That was Ray Allen and
that was Ray Allen. Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah, Ray Allen.
But that was sort of parallel. Like there was the Heat sort of triple threat,
and he did it right after. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think you need 3. I definitely think you need 2.
I don't think you need. Yes. So
or
who's our second?
You need to have the right combination, and I think the right combination of 2 is important. I think we saw that Embiid and Ben Simmons might not have been the right combination because I think that there is such a specific way that Ben Simmons plays that does not necessarily complement the way that Joel Embiid plays. And I think that everybody sort of said that as they were coming along. I think that had the Sixers invested in a true point guard earlier in their progress, earlier in the process, so to speak, I think what you're seeing is
they had one.
Maxey might be a B+ point guard right now, and if they had an A- point guard, they may have been able to win a title by
now. Yeah, maybe. The thing is like you're 1 and you're 2. Right? I mean, like, look at all those guys you named, right? All those duos that you named throughout our childhoods, going back. None of those 1s or 2s were what you would consider a one-dimensional player, right? Like none of them didn't play defense and none of them didn't play offense. And
Yeah,
Ben
notice he didn't
Simmons
say
can't
Dennis
be,
Rodman anywhere in there.
well, he was a 3. I mean, wouldn't you
And
say?
one-dimensional is more
But he
important.
was
he's
not the 1 or the
one-dimensional
2.
defensive spot.
But so Ben Simmons cannot be a 1 or a 2 because he doesn't play half of the game of basketball. Right?
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, we don't even know if he could play half of the game of basketball because he refuses to take part in half of the game of basketball.
Well, so then let me ask you this. Can James Harden be a 1 or a 2 because does he not play half of the game of basketball?
What, his defensive skills?
I mean,
suspect?
I'm just asking. I mean, is that part of James Harden has been part of a 1 and 2 scenario for many, many years of his career, and I don't see any rings.
All right. Well, look at Ben Simmons. Back to him, though. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily say that he plays half of the game of basketball. I mean, when the dude was with the Sixers, how many points did he average? You know what I mean? He was like 18, 19 a game. How many assists did that guy average?
He did distribute.
I don't know. I'll look it
double,
up.
double, triple, double all the time. I mean, I don't think it's fair to pigeonhole Ben Simmons as a one-dimensional player because he didn't shoot the 3, or he's a shitty foul shooter. There's a lot of bad foul shooters out there. You know what I mean? That are still really high-producing offensive players and high-functioning defensive players too. So I don't think we should slight Ben Simmons. And his abilities as a well-rounded basketball player, but there's definitely flaws to his game. But there's flaws to everybody's game, except Joel Embiid. There's no flaws right now with that guy's game.
I think the interesting thing about the idea of bringing a guy like Harden, yeah, you're right. Maybe he is. I think that you could get him to play enough defense if he bought into what was going on here.
And Harden
but also,
would definitely complement
the Sixers
Joel Embiid much better than Ben.
Would be able to sort of back up that deficiency. It's hard to back up a lack of offensive efficiency when you're depending on your role players to score more of the points.
Ben Simmons is a 16-point per game player until last year, where he was a 14-point per game player.
Okay. Rebounds, assists, I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
I mean, yes, he has rebounds, he has assists. I mean, like that's his whole game, right? I play defense and I pass the ball. I'm like, okay.
Do you think that there is a team in the NBA that can feature Ben Simmons as their number one star? Is Ben Simmons the type of guy that could carry a team?
No.
Stop. And that right there, every GM in the NBA has the exact same response, and that's why he hasn't been traded. He does not carry the same value that the Sixers want to get back because of.
I know. I really desperately don't want to have a Ben Simmons trade podcast.
Right.
It always turns into that because it's the thing. It's like the thing that's missing from our Sixers lives right now is this trade. Like, please make it happen, or no, please hold out and find out what's the maximum value you can get. Maybe in the off season he'll put a bunch of gym hype videos out and someone will be like, oh my gosh, look, he's got a jump shot now. Let's mortgage our future for Ben Simmons. And it makes you so crazy. And oh my God, I just realized we're featuring a new segment tonight. It's sort of the return of the penalty box in a little bit different format. And I just realized my penalty box nominee is slightly adjacent to this Ben Simmons situation, but has the Clutch Sports what did they just destroy Ben Simmons? What? You don't hear anything. There's nothing. It's just he's like a ghost.
Nothing out of Rich Paul. Nothing out of Rich Paul.
Do you think Ben, Embiid's Ben, if I can't be next to you, I'll take the ghost of you.
I mean, are you insinuating that Ben could come back?
No, he's not coming back. But it's just he's like a ghost. What?
I
no
think
one knows anything.
The whole thing ended when Embiid and those guys went out there to be like, come on, man, let's give it one more run. Let's put all this shit behind us and let's go. And it didn't pan out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at that point, I think the rest of the team was like, we have to do our jobs. And if you're not going to
Well, you
play,
saw the
which
new
seems
thing that was
ridiculous,
like,
we're going to
there was like some
go
new
without
quote
you.
out from him that something that they were like, well, yeah, they did try to, Doc Rivers did try to like reach out to me, but I felt like they could have done more. He could have come to the gym that I
Yeah,
work
he
out
didn't
at.
go to the gym in San Fernando Valley or wherever he
Like,
was.
what?
Yeah.
Are you an idiot?
They could have done more. They could have done
What
more.
is
They could have
this?
done more.
So it's
But
so
yet he's
crazy. But I will say though, like, you know, the Embiid fever, like I had Embiid fever, like for the last 2 weeks, I've just been like Embiid, like since the 50-point game. It was so great. I got to come on Party on Broad that night and talk a little bit about that game and my experience watching it. But like since that night, I've just gobbled up like every Sixers game. I was just like, I just got to watch more Embiid, more Embiid, more Embiid. And Monday morning, I was like, I'm gonna go to the Sixers game tonight. I'm gonna get tickets. I want to see Embiid and John Morant play. And then, I mean, literally, while I was like cruising through StubHub, the news came out that Embiid wasn't gonna play, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna go. Like, I would have loved to like see John Morant, but I was like, I'm not gonna go. And I mean, God bless Tyrese Maxey, made me regret that decision all night long. I mean, the kid
he
is just
was
great.
lights out. Yep.
Embiid
all over the
loves him,
place.
obviously. I
Yeah.
mean, nothing made me happier. The only thing that made me happier than them winning the game, Maxey, you know, tying a career high, was like Embiid running out of the tunnel to celebrate with him. It brought me such joy. I don't know. This team's just really making me happy lately.
Now, does a game like Monday night for Maxey make him untouchable in any sort of trade discussions over the course of the next week and a half? Does that kind of seal the deal and be like, dude, we're not letting this dude out of Philly? Or does it make Daryl Morley get on the phones?
Gene, you go first. I want to hear what you have to say first.
I think, and I mean, just from what I've seen of the NBA, and especially in Sixers' recent past, I think if you are sort of trending up and trending like strongly up this close to the trade deadline, it makes more sense, especially if you don't have like a glaring hole, to stand pat. I think that the Sixers have made the mistake of pushing all in and overpaying for stars at this point in the season a couple of times in the recent past. And this might be the time, the way this team is constructed, to roll with what you have, can keep all of your assets, and see what you can do right now in the East. I don't think that there's another team in the East that is, certainly not in the East. Maybe there's a Western team that might be, that Grizzlies team is very, very good. I don't think that there's any team in the East that you're like, well, we're not going to get past them. We can't beat them. So if you feel like you can stand up to anybody else in a series in the playoffs, especially now that you are this close to even being able to, if you keep playing well, you could end up as the home court 1 seed for the whole playoff. I don't think you mess with it. The one thing you can absolutely palpably see with this team is that they have chemistry and that they're clicking right now. Why would you want to take away, especially like your point guard, to bring in somebody else that you now have to spend weeks getting ramped up? Just look back to last year, the way when Brooklyn sort of brought in what on paper should have been a team that you just pencil into the title, or pencil into at least to the finals. It never gelled. It never clicked. It never worked on the court the way that they expected it to.
They weren't even playing together.
Dominant players. You need time for that sort of thing to work. Joel Embiid is playing. He's a great player, playing the best basketball of his life right now. You've got a young guy in Maxey who's under financial control right now. Why would you want to walk away from all of the things that he's?
Well, I think if you're a I want to keep Maxey person, you're probably in the majority in Philadelphia, the way we fall in love with like scrappy players. But I would be concerned with Daryl Morey captaining the ship, because wasn't he the one who said if you believe you have a 10% chance at a title, you have to go for it? So
that is a Morey
certainly
quote.
think the Sixers are in that above that 10% threshold. That, if the right offer comes along, he may go for it. Maxey is going to be a serviceable player in the NBA for 15, 20 years, whatever it is. So I wouldn't be too eager to move on from him. It was a great draft pick. I mean, how often do you say that in Philadelphia, where it's like a late round first pick? It's like, oh my gosh, you got to steal out of the draft. So it doesn't happen that often. I would love to keep him. I mean, like, I would love to see him, stay, grow as a Sixer. I mean, it's like one of those things. It's just like, you just get so nervous. Like if he trade him to Brooklyn or something, and then he's a perennial all-star, you're just like, oh my God.
I just don't think you can get value back right now without sort of putting it into some mega package that includes.
But I think the other side of it is like, what do you think? What do you like? All right, look, you're going to give it your all this year as far as like the players that you have. You might add some buyout options or whatever later in the season.
Just for depth. That's what you need. You need a deeper bench.
Probably some mega deals not going to happen, but. Like, what do you think is going to happen with the Ben Simmons? Like, not you, but like what do you, the Sixers, think is going to happen with this Ben Simmons situation in the offseason? And that's going to determine what you want to do now. Because if you think like, okay, Harden wants to be a Sixer, like, I don't know where the hell that come from, but that's what's floating around, right? That's what people are talking about. Like, he doesn't want to sign an option and he wants to, play with Embiid. Like, okay, cool. Like, I guess. But like, so if you think that's going to somehow metastasize, then it's like, okay, well, we just keep our assets.
I mean, that also sounds a lot to me like the same thing you hear from guys that want to push the team that they're on to really up the ante. That sounds like so much agency.
Really? Because I feel like when they say they want to do this shit, they just wind up doing it themselves.
Well, James Harden doesn't have an agent. He is his own agent. So he's the guy that's calling all of those shots and
all right. Well, there you go.
Ramping up that hype train. I mean, I'm sure he's got a publicity staff and an image consultant and whomever else is telling him to grow that beard. But like, I don't think this is agents in play for. Specifically speaking about James Harden, I think it's pretty much all him and his hype machine around him.
Do you think that would work? Do you think that Harden, Embiid, that's an Eastern Conference championship team, that's an NBA championship team?
Harden, Embiid with Maxey running point? Yes.
I would. It is interesting though. I would be kind of interested to see how Embiid reacts to playing with another mega star,
legit.
like MVP candidate on his level, because he's kind of had the rule of the roost in Philadelphia. Like, he could do whatever he wants. Like, if he wants to hold the ball, he can. There's not like another player that's really like demanding ball. If you're going to say like Ben Simmons is the best player that Embiid's played with, well, Ben Simmons isn't demanding the ball ever. So Embiid can basically do whatever he wants. Harden will dribble the air out of the ball. And, if Embiid's fighting on the block that whole time, okay, if you're winning, maybe it's great. If you're not winning, maybe it's not so great.
I mean, Embiid might see James Harden, this is your he's never seen before with that, though.
You're right. Like, he's got to put that, like, they all got to put it aside if they want to win a championship, obviously. I mean, that's just got to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, is Doc Rivers the guy to manage these egos and see them to the promised land?
Yeah, you can't change coaches now.
No one's saying to change the coach unless you're on WIP. But
I'll tell you who. I think we all know who wasn't the guy to manage those egos.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I was driving home from the gym today. The King suggested that the Sixers absolutely must trade Joel Embiid this offseason.
Oh, okay.
There's
whole NBA teams. I wouldn't.
This is why people listen to podcasts. Great.
It's a hot take.
I wouldn't take all of the Houston Rockets.
Yeah. Sixers are a half game out of first place in the East. How crazy is that?
Yeah. They love it.
Yeah, and if they're the 1 seed and Joel Embiid is not the MVP of the league, I don't know what.
Oh, we didn't even
I don't know what the
talk
MVP
about
of the league means at that point.
Dude, we didn't even talk about Shaq and Shaq's comments.
Oh,
I did talk about Shaq, but we didn't talk about his comments.
You invoked his name.
True. We say it one more time, he shows up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's gonna dressed as a genie.
What did Shaq say? What were his comments? I honestly don't remember.
Oh, you didn't see it or hear it?
I probably did, and I just am.
He basically said, and Nigo, you can kind of add to this if I miss anything. Yeah. He basically just said like, Embiid took the criticism that we and other people gave him, and he used it productively, and he plays hard, and that's why he likes him. Unlike I think he said his soft partner. He kept calling him the other guy. He's like, the other guy's a crybaby. He's like, I would get rid of him. I don't respect that guy. And basically just took a big old poop all over Ben Simmons on TNT in a nationally televised game.
And that was an Embiid love fest, that TNT coverage.
It was. That was the Lakers game.
Yeah, and they gobbled it up too when Embiid's like, I definitely didn't play a very good game and everything. God, you dropped like 26 points, 11 rebounds, authoritative control of the paint. But it wasn't his best game. And that's Embiid being humble. And it's really incredible to watch Embiid, his evolution as a player, his evolution as a person, the way that he trash talks himself into this elite conversation of NBA mega superstars, but more so to get the accolades from the elder statesmen of the NBA, somebody like Shaq, and Charles Barkley and all those guys. I know they're all knuckleheads in some degree, from a journalistic perspective, but it's great to hear their opinions and it's great to hear them talk about Embiid this way, But yeah, Ben Simmons, man. Shaq called him a crybaby. Who where's he going to play where he's going to get any respect at this stage of the game?
Yeah, because it goes like that baggage is there, unless he is going to reinvent himself, the baggage is there and people are looking through that dirty laundry the second you get off the plane in town. I don't know.
I think he's convinced that he's going to end up a Laker. I don't know how that could possibly work out, but I think that he is absolutely
banished to the Kings before he's a Laker.
And it's looking like the fact Ben is looking like by signing that deal that he signed, he has really trapped himself in this situation.
I thought
if
the
he was
Hawks
this
were
hell bent on getting out, he absolutely should not have signed that extension.
Yeah, I thought the Hawks would be a good landing spot for him. But
yeah, I think that actually would
be
a good.
That was that John Collins deal, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it was a great deal for us. I just feel like that would have been a good landing spot for Ben. If I cared at all about Ben Simmons, that would be kind of like
I always thought that DC would also be a good market for him too. I feel like that's a very whatever. Fan base, I'm
with you, Gene. Though Lakers would be his best bet to get as far away from Philly as possible. Perhaps be protected by somebody like LeBron.
But there's pressure
from an image perspective. But, yeah, there's pressure, but it's
there's a championship expectation year in and year out in LA. I think he's got to go hide somewhere.
Yeah, but if he goes and hides somewhere in a smaller market, they're going to expect him to be the guy, and he's never going to be the guy. Whereas I feel like if you're going to hide somewhere, go hide on a team like the Lakers where you're not expected to do as much.
I don't know. That's why I thought the Hawks would be good for him because he's got another star. He doesn't have to be a primary scorer. And if they lose, people are just like, oh, well, bam, Georgia football, I don't.
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah, you're right. LA, the Lakers is LA. It's
that's
in Philadelphia.
Yeah, all right. What crybaby? Let's get rid of him.
Crybaby.
Did you guys watch any football this weekend?
No.
Watched all the football this weekend.
No.
Dude,
how about football? The last 2 weekends. My goodness gracious!
Yeah, it's just been.
All the Angels and Saints.
The games have been great, but I'll tell you what, the 2017 Eagles would just beat the tar out of all 4 of those teams that played last Sunday.
Yeah, sure.
What do you mean? Yeah, sure.
No, I meant yeah, sure. That's an outtake. Yeah, sure.
So the most
Oh.
crippling. Let's talk about the Niners game, the Niners Rams game, and the dropped interception in the fourth quarter that really could have sent the Niners to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. What do you want to say? What do you want to talk about?
What I want to talk about is how would a Philadelphia fan base react to this? Would we be forgiving? Would we be death threats? Like what level of
I think we know exactly how this goes.
Ship that guy out of town with Ben Simmons. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, 6 o'clock news the next day. If there's some guy at a fire, he's going to say, you know, I would have caught that interception the way I caught that baby.
Who was it? Tart?
What's that?
What, the player?
What was his name? Tart?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It rhymes with a few things I know.
So I think, like, you know, obviously your distance from a championship has a lot to do with how you react in that situation. I mean, we saw it with the Eagles when Alshon dropped the pass against the Saints the year following the Super Bowl. We were very forgiving of that situation, and we should not have been.
I think we zigged where we should have zagged there as a fan base.
We thought we were evolving, but it's like, you know what? We had it right the first time. We should have just really crushed them.
Yeah, because that was really like there was no high point in Alshon Jeffrey's Eagles career after that. It really was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean,
those poor little kids at that school wrote him that nice little note saying that they forgive him.
He continued to let him down.
Still believe in him. Yeah.
I do feel like that's a little passive aggressive to have children write him a letter.
I mean, did you see the footage of him going into that school afterward? Boy, he was personality plus, nothing but smiles. I think half the kids fell asleep when he walked into the classroom.
What else? What else from the weekend? Does watching these games make you think any differently about your opinion on Jalen Hurts and like what the Eagles should do moving forward?
No, but don't these Cincinnati Bengals kind of have echoes of that underdog Eagles team? You know, they're never supposed to beat the teams that they just keep grinding out these wins.
Team of destiny.
A team of destiny. Yeah,
I put all my chips on the Bengals for Super Bowl Sunday. They're team of destiny. I'm not messing with destiny.
Yeah, and how about Joe Burrow, man? Echoes of Broadway Joe Namath walking into the game with those tinted glasses and that little faux fur cardigan or whatever he was wearing.
It just reminds me a lot.
Yeah,
it reminds me a lot of the 2017 Eagles in the sense like, okay, you had this second-year quarterback.
Yep.
You know, they're playing, you know, they're exceeding expectations.
Playing with
I love Jamar Chase. Like I just think that team's a lot of fun to watch. Like if you can go into Arrowhead and you can beat Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes' wife and Patrick Mahomes' brother and come out of there with a win.
And prior to that, going into Tennessee,
the number one seed and
beating them.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I'm not messing with you, man. You got a chance against anybody. You could do that. And I'm always going to root for look, now that Philly won a Super Bowl, I will root for every city that does not have a Super Bowl because I did not know how great life was until we won a Super Bowl. And every city and every fan base deserves it. And I'm going to do the same bullshit that I do with Washington Nationals fans with the goddamn Rams fans. So listen, you can only be a Rams fan in LA if you meet a very specific set of criteria. One, you have to be so old that you remember the Rams from when they were in LA and then they moved to St. Louis and then they moved back. So you were that old. Or you're like a 5-year-old or younger when the Rams moved to LA and you started to become a football fan. Now, if you were anywhere in between 5 and like, I don't know, how old would you have to be a Rams fan, like an LA Rams fan, like an OG original?
I think you're like 62 and over.
No, come on. They were in there when we were kids,
when we were kids. I would say you probably have to be in your 40s. You know,
you have to be like 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like, mid to late 40s or up. So if you're a 30-year-old, I don't know what fan in LA you were. Like, I don't know if you were like a Raiders fan or a
I think there were
Chargers
a
fan.
lot of Niners fans because there were a lot of Niners fans at that stadium.
There
but
were
you
a
weren't
lot of
no
Niners
Rams fan with playing in St. Louis. So, I mean, you're not legit if you're a Rams fan. Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
The only fan I am is, have you ever seen that clip of Jim Everett when he goes on the Jim Rome show in like 1988?
He keeps calling him Chris Everett.
until Jim Everett literally knocks Jim Rome through a chair and looks like he's going to beat him senseless. It's one of my favorite things to watch when I'm feeling down. It is so fun to watch him, just both of them, like the stones on Jim Rome to keep pushing it. And then I love when a guy like Jim Everett's like, I don't really care. I'm gonna knock this dude out.
Yeah,
it was so good to watch national sports, interviews back in the day. They're so now.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, like, look, what a baby. I mean, Jim Rome is calling a girl's name. Like, what are you doing? You deserve to get knocked out for being a jerk. But Chris Everett dealing with a cancer situation.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Well,
not to bring it down too much.
The other thing I wanted to say
about
the Rams. Do you think that there is a pocket in St. Louis, like of the old St. Louis Rams, and it's strange to call them the old St. Louis Rams, the Warner fans, the greatest fans, are they also going back to their same bar and super psyched to see Matt Stafford take the Rams to the Super Bowl?
Oh, you mean St. Louis?
Yeah, like, do you think that under the arch, like at those bars, those guys are all super psyched, or are they all Bengals fans right now? Like, if
I'd be a Bengals fan. How would you feel if the
Eagles
went someplace
else?
Would
we all still be rooting for the Eagles?
So interesting question.
St. Louis didn't get a team back, which seems
if the
like
Eagles moved,
robbery.
If the Eagles moved out from under you, what team would you be a fan of? Interesting.
Geez. So, I would be a fan of the Buffalo Bills. I enjoy that team. I enjoy their fan base too. I can relate to them. They're wild. They're wild up there.
I might be a Jets fan.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things I was sort of like. Jets sort of make sense.
Color.
Right color, not the Giants.
AFC.
I can't be
the Bills are a good choice. That's a good one.
I can't be a Commanders fan.
I'd go with a fan base that I could, get behind. Good rabid
Bills Mafia. You like Bills Mafia?
Smash mouth. Yeah, I respect them. I can understand where they're
the
coming
logical choice if you were, in I don't know, Wyoming listening to this podcast, you'd be like, oh, you'd be a Steelers fan.
Yeah, but we all know Steelers fans, and we don't want to be anything like them.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I once got my hair cut by a barber who was a Dolphins fan.
Like, I couldn't be a Ravens fan because I know a lot of Ravens fans. I don't like them.
Wait, Nico, what did you get? You got a haircut in Wyoming?
I got my hair cut a few years ago by a barber here in the greater Philadelphia metro area, and he was a Dolphins fan, for crying out loud. Oh, are you originally from Florida? No, I'm from around here. The hell makes you a Dolphins fan?
Marino kid. He was like a Marino guy, probably.
Yeah, he was too young to be a Marino guy. Anyhow,
colors guy.
Completely
like the colors.
Topic. Maybe he likes the colors.
I like the colors guy. Yeah, Gene, you dropped the Commodores on us. What? Or no, Commanders.
Commanders. I think it's Commanders, right?
Yeah. Well, is that a fish?
I thought that they announced that
it's going to be tomorrow, but
yeah, I was just going to say. So it is the Commandos.
I've seen some photos.
I got it here. I got it. Hold on.
Yeah, I told you about those photos. A very aptly, opportunely placed pinstripe right down the
the
Commandos.
There they are.
Look at this.
The Commanders.
All right.
So really, the new
I'll
thing
be
is,
calling them commandos for the next 30, 40 years.
so is the new thing just a W? Like, do they have a logo?
There it is.
It's just a W.
It's
It
like a
looks like that,
folded.
it looks like something I would draw in my copybook in high school, doodling.
It's
I
like
think you probably
it's a
drawn better
fortune.
stuff in high school.
Looks like a fortune from
ribbon
a
art.
fortune cookie. You crack open
Yeah.
a fortune cookie.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
inside.
It's ribbon. It's ribbon art.
It's a ribbon art. I mean, this is a terrible name. This is a terrible
Especially that
logo.
We waited 2 years to get it. Well, we haven't. We could care less. I
What
actually
is a
got more. I actually
commander?
started to
I think they should have kept
come around the
football
bend
club
on
if they're
calling
gonna-
them the football team.
What is a commander?
It's the guy that's in command.
Is
Yeah,
it even a
somebody
thing?
Somebody who makes commands.
Is it even a thing? I'm seriously like, is it a thing?
It's a
Is it a
rank.
real
I think
word?
it's a naval rank.
Commander?
Yeah,
It's
I think
a military
naval
rank.
It's a naval rank.
Naval
Where
is
does
in
it
the
fall?
orange,
Like-
or naval is in the.
Isn't that a commodore?
I think that's also a thing, but I think that's if you're in the British Navy.
Oh my god, this sucks.
Gene, you are a wealth of knowledge.
This
I could be
this
wrong.
name
I'm literally
sucks.
just making this up as I go along.
No, you're right, Gene. You're right. When you're right, you're right. I think it looks like ribbon art, and I think they should have been the commandos.
Like, why isn't there like a ship or a cannon?
Show us the
or-
pants. Show us
is
the
this
Are we
pants.
not
guy,
allowed to- well, it
is this
can't
guy
be a
gonna get
cannon
sued?
because, like, we did the Washington Bullets thing, and that whole thing got sort of nixed. Or why isn't it a W name? Like, why aren't they the warships or the warthogs or the
I think that, yeah, I thought that they were going to do a play on the pig. In a
like?
way,
Where was
because
the
I know
committee
that that's
that
kind of
this
like
is
their
where they
definition.
landed? Like, you had no other names?
This shirt is terrible.
It's phallic.
You got this
Yeah,
big
it's just,
obelisk.
like, I've seen better designs in MS Paint.
Mm.
If I
I
was
do
a
like the
fan of the
ribbon art.
Washington football team, I would be very disappointed. I would say, I'm going to keep my Washington football team gear, and I'm not going to root for the Commanders. I'm going to be an
Commandos,
FFT, WFT for life.
Commandos.
Let's talk a little baseball.
No,
Yes.
Is there anything to talk
I'm just
about? with
kidding. Yeah,
baseball?
of course. Of
Let's
course.
talk a little baseball because I'm getting a little sad today.
A little small ball.
I'm a little sad because there was another player, ownership players association meeting today, and it did not go well. And
No.
it's looking really, it's hard to believe that games aren't going to be canceled at this point. And it's making me sad because like I need baseball in my life. Like I just need it. And we had the Hall of Fame announcement last week, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it. And Big Papi's going to the Hall of Fame,
Which is great and very well deserved.
it's fine,
Of course.
very well
But, yeah.
deserved.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know.
Although
Doesn't
there
play
is
in the field.
Oh, come on.
He only plays half
The
the
Hall-
game of baseball. Nico, come on.
So did most pitchers.
No,
Terrible,
what?
Terrible defense. Well, the Hall of Fame should be exactly what it calls itself, the Hall of Fame, right? This
The
could be
most
its own
famous players
podcast.
get in.
Yeah, the most famous. Look what Big Papi did for his generation of crappy fielding first baseman. Look what he did. Put him on the
No,
map.
I mean, like, sort of to Nico's point, if the Hall of Fame really did sort of embody that fame part of its moniker, just think of some of the people that would be in that, in there that are definitely never going to be in there.
Yeah, Rex the Wonder Dog.
Yeah,
Len Dykstra.
that was
No, I'm
basically
serious.
the poster child of what I was thinking.
Who? Lenny Dykstra?
Yeah, that's a guy
Like
that will
somebody like
never
that?
be in the Hall of Fame for any sort of his, not a bad player, a really good player, but certainly
No,
more
but a player that
famous or
definitely
infamous
personified the game
than
in his
talented.
era of
Jose Canseco. Jose Canseco is never going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he was
But he
absolutely
should.
the most famous baseball player that's ever owned a car wash in America.
And of the obvious ones, the low hanging Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, for them to not be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I've had a
Come on. Pete Rose
I've had an
should be in the
evolution of
Baseball Hall
opinion
of Fame.
about that, and I think that they should have made them wait until their last year of eligibility and then
Yes.
voted them in.
Sweat it out a little bit. Right?
But
And
I
am
also think Pete
absolutely
Rose should
all
be in too.
for that sort of,
I agree.
as the Hall of Fame, marking on their plaques, like telling the story of that era of baseball, saying that there was this.
Which is why I said what I said. I know I didn't want to. I dismissed myself by just kind of making a half-assed joke, but it is true. If the Hall of Fame is what it's supposed to be, these are players that personified what the game was. The brightest talents, maybe, but the brightest personalities, and kind of really defined what the game was in their specific time and place. You got to put them in there. I mean, they helped write the history of the game.
Gene, if I said to you, what is the all-time home run record? Like, what is the number? Who has hit the most home runs? What is the number? What do you think of?
I still like what event? Do I
picture what number? Mind? If I say who hit the most home runs, how many home runs did he hit?
I don't know the number, honestly. I did for a long time when it was Hank Aaron's. It was
exactly.
Right?
What do you say? 755, right?
Right. Yeah.
Do I even have the right number?
I think to break it was 756. But when I still think about that event, I think about Hank Aaron running the bases. I can't conjure up an image in my mind.
You don't think
Barry Bonds breaking that record?
26 or something that Barry Bonds hit. You think 755? I can't even see in my mind. I see in my mind Hank Aaron's home run when he broke the record.
That's what Gene just said. Yeah, but you can't picture Barry Bonds running the bases on his.
No, but is it because no one just ever shows it?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically been sort of purged.
Same with Sosa, same with McGuire.
It's just crazy because I don't know, are the next generation
all of those records now. He's got the single season record. He has the overall record. He's got so many records. It's basically that's the thing that is the most annoying about the Barry Bonds situation, and most annoying about him as a person. He would have been a Hall of Fame player if he didn't do any of this stuff. And the other thing is nobody's ever proven that he did. I mean, other than the fact that we have eyes and can see it. But that's there was never some sort of investigation, and that's a fault of baseball. You never have, I think they tried to sort of have their cake and eat it too. And I think that's a lot of baseball fans' problem now is baseball needed McGuire and Sosa. They needed Barry Bonds to sort of resurrect baseball from the ashes that was the 94 strike. They are cruising towards having a similar problem right now if they don't watch themselves. Baseball fans can be very fickle and hold a grudge. It doesn't take much to piss us off. And the main thing that pisses us off is take away baseball. I still get upset about thinking about the fact that 1994 doesn't have a World Series. That really irritates me.
I mean, Gene, can you imagine a year this year without seeing Shohei Ohtani, without seeing Bryce Harper, without seeing Mike Trout, without seeing Fernando Tatis? I just can't even imagine a summer without this game.
No, I mean, last summer,
I don't even know how we did it in 94.
That brought me sort of through the summer. It was the thing that I could always go to every day. That's true of always, but really with everything that's happening in the world, there is no better escape for me than to be okay, it's 7:05. I'm just going to go watch the Phillies game for a couple hours. I can put everything else away. I can put everything else aside, and I can be within the game of baseball. And
all these games this year were going to start at 6:00. It was going to be great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that even more. What's the sticking point? Do we know what's the main sticking point right now?
I don't know. There's a lot of conversations around service time. but like ultimately, I don't care. Whatever, just play
Right.
ball.
Just figure it out.
Figure it out, please. Just figure it out.
Do we want to talk just a second about World Series odds and how insane those seem to be?
We could.
Do you agree or disagree, sort of just in the NL East numbers, that the Mets have better odds to win the World Series than the Braves?
Well, I think if the Braves sign Freddie Freeman, that number is going to change. But I don't know how. It's weird to even have these odds because like you don't know what
We don't even know if we're going to have a
hasn't
season.
happened.
Yeah.
And we don't even know how many games are going to be played. It's just going to be, I mean, you had to be a maniac to bet on this stuff now. I mean, I guess if you there's opportunity, we could put it that way. I just don't know how you can intelligently place a wager on this with like so many unknown variables that are still like in swirl right now.
So you don't put a lot of stock in those numbers yet?
I just think they're all bad odds right now.
I feel like it's incomplete. It's incomplete.
I just think it's a bad bet. I mean, like I'm not a great gambler, but I just think they're all like bad wagers right now. Are over unders out? I mean, how can you even do that, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, because you don't know what the total is going to be. I don't know if those are out or not, but be an interesting bet.
But the Phillies are what plus 4,000 to win the World Series. So if you,
third in the East.
If you feel like
behind the Braves and Mets.
If you're feeling squirrely,
I think it's not a bad bet actually.
I don't gamble, but yeah, I'm feeling squirrely.
Bengals are getting four. So the next time, so we're gonna move to an every other week format, bi-weekly format for this show. So we're gonna talk next the Tuesday after the Super Bowl. So what are Bengals are getting 4. What are your predictions for the Super Bowl while we're at it?
Oh, they're gonna win. They're gonna win.
Who's gonna win? The Bengals.
The bang.
As Mike Missinelli would say, outright.
Outright.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I put my money where my mouth is. I actually did put a little scratch down on the Bengals and the points. I think the Bengals are going to win outright too. And you give me 4 points as well, I'm in.
I put a wager on the Bengals to win outright. I put a wager on the Bengals with 4 points, and then I put a little. If you follow Mark in Philly on Twitter, who also does some work on the painted lines, he's got some really great gambling advice. Helped me win some money on Championship Sunday. And he tuned me into Matt Stafford over 278 yards passing.
I love that. I actually took the over too. I think the over was 49.5.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to move to our new segment. We've done the penalty box before. But now we're gonna go into the world of boxing, and we're gonna do Mickey's KO corner.
Oh, I liked you better when you was carrying Smith.
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go first, Mick?
You're a bum. I want to listen to that bum Gene and hear what he has to say. What are you chirping about sitting there in the basement of Veterans Stadium? Let's hear what you have to say, Gino.
So, if I could knock somebody out, and I often have this feeling, going back
Gene,
to Championship Sunday, I'm glad that
block off.
I'm glad we didn't talk about this already. And I've done a little, work on the broadcasting side of broadcasting games. And I've produced, college football games from the studio and high school football games from the studio. And one of the things that I always strive for is making sure that the people that I was producing, the guys that were on site, the talent, so to speak, that they could be heard. Now, granted, I worked in radio. It was really important in a medium like radio that your voice is heard over what's happening in the stadium. Maybe in television you can get away with it a little bit more, but if you were watching the Kansas City and Cincinnati game on Sunday, they went at halftime on the field to the to the booth crew, or what is normally the studio crew, on the sidelines, and you were treated to fancy like Applebee's instead of being able to hear anything else that those guys were saying. So not only do I want to knock out the guy that sings that goddamn song because it is so goddamn annoying, but I want to find whoever was making these decisions that was like, I think for a different look, we'll put them right in the middle of the halftime show and make sure that nobody hears their nonsense commentary anyway. So that would be a great thing to put on people's televisions for 10 minutes while they're waiting for the bathroom at their AFC championship party. So if I could knock somebody out, it's going to be first the guy that sings that dumb song, and hopefully I knock him into the guy that made the decision to put that booth crew on the field for Championship Sunday. Put them in a booth. Put them in a studio. Put them outside the stadium. Don't put them in the middle of a concert.
All right, Gene, go soak your head. Soak it good. You're a greasy, fast, 140-pound Polish tank. You'll run over him.
God, it's been a long time since I've been 140 pounds of anything.
Oh. 165.
Moving up in weight class, huh?
Bantamweight.
Bantamweight.
All right, Dave, what are you smiling about? Get to work.
Listen, I'm gonna put I'll never hit a woman, but Rich Paul's girlfriend deserves a KO for her actions over the past couple of weeks. Adele, who I have had experiences with in canceling shows, cancels her Vegas show the day before. The day before opening night was supposed to happen, she cancels this show. You mean to tell me a big Vegas Strip show one day before doesn't know if it can go on or not? Even a week before? Even 2 weeks before? It doesn't know if it's on schedule to go on? Meanwhile, you got people spending thousands and thousands of dollars for these tickets, making travel arrangements, booking flights, booking hotels, getting childcare figured out. For God's sakes, a lot of those people were already in Vegas to see this show when she canceled it. You think they're going to be able to get their money back? You think they're going to be able to get their money back on the secondary market? You think they're going to be able to get their money back on the tertiary market? You know how many times these tickets have been sold and resold and changed hands? And now she says she's going to reschedule the show dates? Well, I've been through a canceled Adele show before. And let me tell you something. She's not going to reschedule those show dates. This is going to go on for months and months and months. And then she's just going to cancel it. And then good luck getting your money back for all of these arrangements you made to see her sing. So for that, I want to KO Adele.
Dave, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Women weaken legs. Put her out. Put her on the ground.
Mickey, are you going to KO anyone this week?
I'm going to turn it over to my co-host before I lose my voice.
It's a good call.
Do you know who I'm going to KO? The greatest quarterback of all time, Tom friggin' Brady.
Oh.
Okay, you retire. You want to retire. You kind of retire. I'm going to tell people I'm going to retire. Maybe I won't retire. Oh, I'm going to retire. All in the span of 48 hours. That's fine. You do you. I respect Tom Brady. I respect what he's done for the NFL. I respect what he's done as a global icon. Totally cool. But of all of the people that he thanked in that entire litany of an Instagram post, I think it was like 15 pages or something. And this is low-hanging fruit, but whatever. This is what I'm bringing to the table. To not even mention one iota of New England and the time that you spent there and the 50,000 championships that you won in New England. Didn't even thank the Patriots fans. Didn't even thank Robert Kraft. Didn't even thank Bill Belichick. Not even 1 ounce of recognition to New England did Tom Brady give in that bitch fest of a letter saying that he's finally retiring and moving on and going out to pasture. So for that, I would like to gently tap Tom Brady's jaw. If he was standing in front of me right now, I'd probably go and try to shake his hand and be all googly eyed. But if we're talking about kicking some ass, I'd kick his ass.
Ooh.
Thank you for thinking of it.
That was a fun one. I like that.
Yeah, did you like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I think we'll keep this.
You're
You're gonna have to maybe drink some tea with honey before the show, maybe.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
prep the
maybe.
voice.
Yeah, I'll have to do a vocal warm up.
Yeah.
I'll do a
All right. Well, we have reached the hour mark. That is all the time we have for this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be doing Super Bowl recap. Probably just like a ton more Sixers talk. We'll have some Olympics under our belt at that point. So we'll certainly have a ton of stuff to talk about. So join us in 2 weeks. Until that time, if you haven't done so already, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Also check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Podadelphia. If you have any more time in your podcast listening day, be sure to check out the Whip Around for all the week's weird news. And also check out the Painted Lines on YouTube and Facebook for wall-to-wall Philly sports coverage. Until we see you again, have a great day at work, everybody. We are out of here.